When Trust Breaks, How I Discovered My Husband's Secret Life. I always believed that marriage was built on small moments, quiet mornings, shared coffee, inside jokes only we understood. That love was something you nurtured every day, even when the world outside tried to tear you apart. My name is Julia, and I thought I had everything. We met in college. Michael was the charming guy with the easy smile, the one who always made me laugh even on the darkest days. We fell in love fast, the kind of love that feels like destiny, like the universe conspired just for us. By the time we graduated, we were inseparable. We got married when I was 24. Michael was 26. It was a small ceremony in a sunlit park, surrounded by friends and family. We promised each other forever, not knowing that forever could be so fragile. For the first 5 years, everything was perfect. We bought a cozy apartment downtown, adopted a golden retriever named Charlie, and built a routine that felt like home. I gave up a job I loved to support his career. He was climbing the corporate ladder fast, and I believed in us, in him. But slowly, things started to change. At first, it was little things. The way Michael started coming home late, claiming extra hours at work. The sudden habit of locking his phone when I walked into the room. The quiet phone calls he took in the bathroom. The hurried messages that disappeared when I approached. I told myself I was imagining things. Maybe it was stress. Maybe he was just tired. But the distance grew. The smiles were fewer, the conversations shorter. One evening, after months of feeling like a ghost in my own life, I decided to surprise him at his office. I wanted to remind us what we once were. I waited by the elevator as it opened. Michael stepped out, but he wasn't alone. There was a woman with him, someone I didn't know. She laughed at something he said, their eyes locked in a way that made my heart freeze. I could see it. The way he looked at her was a look I hadn't seen in years. I wanted to disappear. I left without making a sound. For days, I lived in denial, pretending everything was normal, while my mind replayed that moment on a loop. I avoided his calls, his texts, the shared spaces that now felt like mine and someone else's at the same time. Then came the messages. One night, when Michael was asleep, I picked up his phone. I told myself it was for closure, proof to put the doubts to rest. But what I found was worse than I could have imagined. Texts filled with promises, plans, and love notes. But not for me, for her. "Can't wait to see you tonight," one read. "I feel alive when I'm with you," said another. The pictures, smiling, holding hands, stolen moments from places I thought we shared. That night, I didn't scream, I didn't throw the phone. I sat on the edge of our bed, heart pounding, tears streaming silently. The woman he loved wasn't me. I felt like my entire world was unraveling. But there was more. A secret blog, carefully hidden, where Michael poured his heart out. Stories of feeling trapped, suffocated by the life he was supposed to lead. Confessions of guilt, but also excitement for a new beginning with someone who understood him. I realized then this wasn't just an affair. It was a new life he was building without me. I was living a lie wrapped in comfort and routine. The hardest part wasn't the betrayal, it was the emptiness. The space between us that had grown so wide, I feared it could never be crossed. Days passed. I confronted him once, or tried to. He admitted everything with a coldness I didn't expect, as if he'd rehearsed the lines so many times he no longer felt them. "I never wanted to hurt you," he said, "but I need to be true to myself." Those words cut deeper than any scream or fight. I knew then that there was no fixing us. That night, I packed a bag. I left the life we built, the promises we made, and the man I once loved. Because sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes letting go is the only way to survive. Part 2. The Breaking Point and Aftermath. The days after that night blurred into a painful haze. I kept replaying the image of him and that woman, her name still unknown to me, laughing in a hotel room like I was a ghost in my own life. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Every little thing in our apartment screamed at me. His cologne on the pillow, the dishes we never finished, the photos of us smiling, frozen in a time I thought was real. I tried to reach out to him, to demand answers, but every call went unanswered. I sent messages, questions begging for truth, for some shred of the man I thought I knew. But silence was all I got. It felt like my world was dissolving, like every foundation I'd built was crumbling beneath me. My daughter Sophie sensed it too. She would ask, "Mum, why do you cry?" And I'd force a smile, telling her I was just tired. How could I tell her the truth? How could I explain that the man she called Dad had been living a lie? The betrayal was like a poison in my veins, spreading to every corner of my life. Friends advised me to leave, to file for divorce immediately, but I hesitated. For 15 years, we were partners, parents, best friends. I clung to the hope that he might come back, that it was a mistake, that somehow we could fix the broken pieces. Then, one night, I found a box in the closet. Hidden beneath old clothes, it was filled with letters, photos, and little mementos, evidence of a secret life I had never imagined. Love notes, receipts from fancy dinners, hotel keys. The woman wasn't just a fling. She was the other chapter of his story, written behind my back. I confronted him finally. His face was pale, eyes empty, as if the weight of his guilt crushed him. He didn't deny it. He said he was sorry, that it meant nothing, that he was confused. But his apologies felt hollow, words falling on deaf ears. My heart was shattered, my trust ripped away. I moved out with Sophie. The apartment that once felt like home now felt like a mausoleum of memories. I stayed with my sister, sleeping with the door locked, the phone off, trying to shield Sophie from the storm that raged inside me. Days turned into weeks. I went to therapy, pouring my soul into sessions, trying to understand how love could be so fragile. I learned to grieve, not just the loss of my marriage, but the loss of who I thought I was. Sophie became my anchor. Her laughter, her innocence, gave me a reason to keep going. I promised her I'd be strong for both of us. But at night, when the house was quiet, I was haunted by visions of what could have been. Then the calls started, from the woman. Her voice was cold, almost mocking. She said she didn't want to hurt me, that it wasn't her fault. But every call was a fresh wound, reminding me that my pain was their pleasure. I wanted revenge. I wanted justice. But what good was that when my heart was broken beyond repair? One stormy night, I got a call from the hospital. My sister had been in an accident. I rushed there, heart pounding. When I arrived, she was unconscious, her body bruised, fragile. The doctors said it was bad, but she was a fighter. Days passed. Sophie and I sat by her bedside. It was then I realized how fragile life was, how much time I had wasted chasing ghosts of a love that was never real. I decided then to let go of the past, to rebuild not just for Sophie, but for me. But fate had one last cruel twist. 2 months after my sister's accident, I got a call from the police. The woman, the one who destroyed my family, was found dead. Her car crashed into a tree on a rain-slick road. No survivors. I felt nothing at first. Numbness swallowed me whole. But the guilt came soon after. I hated her, yes. But she was also a victim of choices and mistakes, just like me. And now, the story that began with betrayal ended in tragedy. I stood by the graveside, holding Sophie's hand tightly. We didn't say much. Sometimes silence says everything. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if I will ever fully heal. But I know one thing. I'm done living a lie. This story isn't about the betrayal. It's about survival, about finding strength in the wreckage, and about learning that sometimes the hardest endings lead to the strongest beginnings.